Thank you so much for joining today's webinar as we will be touching on clinical photography and the benefits that it has to your practice. So to touch on some key points today, we will be going through the cosmetic journey, that being a benefit to your practice, as well as the cost efficiency and the efficiency standpoint. And when we look at the liability of a patient record, aesthetic record is going to provide a platform that keeps your practice compliant and protected. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So with the iOS features, all of your photos are going to be done through the provider's app. This is going to allow you to have those before and after photos and videos. It's going to allow you real-time charting. So again, being able to chart your actual procedures and injection points on these live photos of your patients, as well as getting some consistent before and after comparisons, and then being able to utilize a treatment plan with your clients. So in the event that you're doing a consultation, maybe you guys do some type of treatment plan, and then that way, again, you can see those photo benefits for that as well. On this portion here, I'm going to be showing you the ways that you're going to be able to take photos within the actual provider's app. And so by this video here, you can see when we click on the front image, this will allow you to select whether or not you are doing a photo grid or the actual smart photo feature. So as you can see here, this feature is going to allow you to align the transparency of the photo with the previous photo with the current photo here. So that way, again, you can get that consistent pattern. Now, on the screen here, you'll see a photo grid that you can also utilize. This is going to give you the option to, again, align the client's photo up to create a pattern so that when you're comparing these before and after photos later on, you have a consistent, matching photo of this client. Now, keep in mind also that when you are taking photos of your clients, that you'll want to make sure that you're creating a consistent environment. So that way, for example, if when the client comes in the first time and you're taking a photo in front of a gray wall, you want to make sure that when they come back the second time and the third time, you're also creating that same environment for those consistent photos as well. Now, as we move on to the patient photo record on the app. So as you can see right here displayed on the screen is when you go inside of your client's profile, you're able to scroll and see all of the times that your client has come in and see if a sequence of those photos that you have taken as well. You're able to see a treatment summary that's tied to this actual procedure. You're also able to see that all of your photos taken do have a time, date, and stamp. So that way, again, you have real time of when those photos were actually taken. You can also see the provider that is tied to the treatment as well. And any consent or questionnaires also that were tied to this treatment. Now here, why do you care about clinical documentation? And so we care about the clinical documentation for compliance reasons. Being able to have that accurate charting. So if I'm taking a photo of my client, I'm able to actually take those injections and those actual treatments and log them on my client's photos. So that in the event that my client ever wants to reference to exactly where she received treatment or, how much, in that area she received treatment, it's all logged here on her actual photo. As well as we provide a legal protection layer for your practice. So in the event that this client were to ever say, well, I don't see any movement, I feel like the treatment did not work, you can always come back and show, okay, well, on this point, at this point in time, this is what we logged here. And then again, you're able to look at a following photo and see, the difference in that treatment. And then for marketing purposes, so being able to provide this clinical documentation allows you to export these photos into your, let's say, social media platform, So that way you can showcase your work, you know, that you've on those clients that you've taken photos of. So before and afters is what you're seeing on the screen here. So this is going to allow me to compare my clients' photos in real time. So again, if you see the bottom, you're able to see exactly what they received at that treatment, as well as the time, date, and stamp. Again, this just allows you a side-by-side comparison so that at this point in time, you're able to, you know, if you need to zoom in and zoom out into particular areas. Now, at the top of the screen where it says front, you're able to also select the angle at which you want to compare these photos, which will actually show you a different angle here in the next slide. And so this portion here shows you how you have a 45-degree left angle and then a 45-degree right angle. Now, in the event that, let's say, we wanted to touch on this client's crow's feet, you are able to actually pinch in and out of this photo so that way you can get a closer angle and look at the difference in those photos. And down at the bottom, if you notice as well, you have those arrows. So those arrows will allow you to go between different times and different days that these photos were actually taken. So if you want to compare, you know, last visit to a current visit, or, you know, maybe the very first visit that they had to the current visit, you can go between those photos. Now, moving on to before and after videos. So this portion here is going to allow you to, it creates a great way to choose different expression lines or to create and see different expression lines. That way you can align these videos up the same way with photos side by side to, again, get a live before and after comparison. And so you'll be able to see here when I select the play button here, I'm able to see on both days exactly what changed in any type of, expression lines or, you know, lip lines, things like that, you're able to see in the live footage. And once again, at the very top, you can see that for the videos, you are able to select the type of expression. So you'll notice that when you do select the drop down, you'll be able to do rest face, purse kiss face, you know, furrow, etc. And so now it just basically gives you, when you're going through the provider's app, it gives you a step-by-step on how to actually chart with these before and after photos. Again, super beneficial to your practice because this is just going to, again, allow you for liability reasons, again, to kind of keep track of your client's journey when taking these photos and, you know, doing these treatments and procedures. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my provider's app with you guys and actually show you what this looks like from beginning to end. All right, so as you can see, I am now logged into my provider's app. So with the webinar that you just seen on the screen, we kind of put everything in a summary form, and I just kind of laid out what the benefits are and what those features do. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do now is actually take you through beginning to end, step by step on what that process looks like. So once again, as you can see, when I'm in my client's chart here, as I mentioned earlier, if I were to scroll here, I'm able to see all of the previous treatments that this patient has received in my practice, along with the photos tied to those procedures. Okay, so at this point in time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create an actual procedure. So if I select my plus button here, as you can see, it's allowing me to select a procedure type. And so I'm just going to kind of briefly go through this process here. And I'm just going to skip through all the way to my photos. So once again, here I am on my photo screen. Now you can see at the top, I can toggle between photos or videos. Now, if I select my videos, it actually will give you a live demonstration on how to take this video here. So for rest video, you can see that it's giving you a demonstration and then you can proceed to recording. And just to show you another example, again, you have the demonstration video that is helpful to kind of reference to when you're taking these videos of your clients. So if I wanted to take this video, if I select proceed to recording, right now I just kind of have my iPad here on a blank screen. But if you wanted to, you could either turn this around to do a patient facing photo, or, you know, begin taking your video here. So then if I toggle back over to my photos tab, I can then begin taking photos of my patient. So if I select here for my front image, we're going to use the camera today. And once again, it's going to automatically give you the previous photo of the client. So that way you can utilize the smart photo feature and align that photo up, you know, as needed. And then down below, you have your photo grid. So in the event that you wanted to utilize that instead, you could select the tab down below and then begin aligning this up with the patient's face here. And also keep in mind that with the photo grid as well, you can, with taking the photos, you can take a photo of any portion of the body. So don't feel subject to just take a photo of the face or a particular expression. Feel free to take as many different angles or again, any type of body part that you please here in that section. And so with the photos, they're also helpful for any type of body contouring as well as any laser treatments as well, so that you can see the progress in those procedures and treatments also. So today, because I'm going to just go, I've already taken these photos, so I'm going to pull from my gallery here. So let's just say I'm going to go ahead and select a photo of my client today. All right. So then, as you can see, you can also add additional images if you would like here as well to get those 90-degree angles, or once again, feel free to take a photo of, you know, any body part or any type of facial expression that you feel the need to. So then I'm just going to go ahead and move along until I get to my procedure details screen. So at this point in time, keep in mind again, I can pinch in and out on these photos if I need to zoom in. So then at this point in time, again, very helpful for real-time charting, because this is going to allow me as the provider to actually chart on the exact areas where my client received treatment. And so what I'm doing right now is just double tapping on the screen to log these injection points. So then I just save my treatment here. Now with the photos, let's say in the event that you actually wanted to, you know, change out her 45-degree or one of these angles here, up at the top right, you'll see this little photo icon. If I click that photo icon, this allows me to change one of those pictures or all of them. And at this point in time, I can either take a new photo or again, upload from the gallery. So then we're going to go ahead and save. Then I'm going to go back to my client's profile here. And so at this point in time, you can see on the procedure here that I just completed, if I needed to view any procedure photos, I could. Now, down at the bottom, let's say I also wanted to add any photo or videos of this client later on. I can select my add videos here at the bottom, and this will allow me to add before and after videos. So then again, just to kind of get a live visual of those expression lines, you could get a video before, inject the client, and then take immediate after so you can see the immediate results. And so now what I'd like to do is go ahead and touch on the before and after tool here at the top right. So in the event that we actually wanted to, let's say, compare these photos, I'm going to select on this comparison tool, and it's going to prompt me to select a body part here. So in the event that I want to go ahead and, let's say, compare face, again, I can choose between photos and videos. So just to show you from earlier, let's say I wanted to compare videos at the top here of the screen. I'm going to select which expression. So then I'm going to use these arrows here to find which videos I would like to compare today. Now, as you can see, this is comparing in the horizontal view, but if I wanted to, I could turn my iPad horizontal and I could compare them side by side. And so once we hit that play button, it would then load and begin to, again, show us that live visual of the video comparison. So then if I go back here at the top left, I'm going to go back to that photo comparison tool here. And this time I'm going to select photos. And so then at this point in time, again, I could utilize the arrow to decide which photos and which procedures I'd like to compare today. So again, I can pinch my fingers in and out here to zoom in. I can also turn my iPad horizontal to do a side-by-side comparison. Now, with this portion here, let's say I wanted to actually compare injection points. I can view these side-by-sides as well with those injection points in the event that they were back maybe for the same procedure, same treatment. So then if I wanted to also change the angle of my comparison, I can go to the top here, select left 45, and once again, this will give me a side-by-side comparison of this angle. So as I mentioned earlier, in the event that I wanted to kind of touch on her crow's feet today, I could zoom in here. And then the same for the 45 degree. Now, as I mentioned earlier, from a marketing standpoint, as we know, a lot of providers like to showcase their work, especially on Instagram or even Facebook outlets. And so what I could do at this point in time is, if I'm inside of my patient's profile here, at the top right, I can then export these images. So if I go to my export tab here, and so at this point in time, let's say I want to go ahead and export an image. Now, be mindful that you want to make sure that you're presenting some type of photo release consent with your patient, so that way you have the consent to do so. But once you have received that from your patients at this point in time, you would be able to export those images. So once again, if I come here, down below, I can decide, do I want to showcase these before and afters? And then I'm going to come here to the top right and export these images via photo library, email, or even iTunes. You can also export these again with injections if you wanted to export those. And then also, if you had any additional photos, you could also utilize this tab here to export those images as well. And so with that being said, we have left the last few minutes here to kind of do a Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to utilize our chat box here. And then that way we can get some of those questions answered for you. You should see a tab inside of your screen that actually says Q&A. So it looks like I have a couple of questions here today. So one of them being, do you have best practice for getting the image lined up with the overlay? I struggle sometimes to get the angle right. Now, it depends upon, again, the environment that you're taking the photos. And so that could, I mean, it could be maybe the background, just kind of getting that transparency right and kind of perfect and on point. And so sometimes if you have to adjust that transparency, that might be helpful, again, depending on the lighting or again, the area that you're taking the photo. And with the grid, if you utilize the grid, just keep key points. So let's say that you're utilizing the top line to go directly through the patient's eyes, or I'm going to pull up my screen here. So again, let's say that you're utilizing these cross points here. So the very top right one, you can utilize this for your, the patient's right eye and the patient's left eye. And so then that way, you know that every single time you're taking photos, you know that you're taking it directly the same way each time. Now, the next question is, if I want to take at rest, frown, and raining eyebrows all at the front, how do I do that? So keep in mind, even though it's giving you an actual angle, so again, if I go inside of my camera here, even though it's giving you an angle, utilize the photo grid, because the photo grid, it just allows you, again, you're still creating that pattern, but maybe that actual previous photo might be throwing you off a bit. But this will just allow you can take the photos as you please. So if you wanted to create a pattern, let's say you take a photo at rest first, the second one is at frown, and then the third one is raising eyebrows. You'll just create that pattern every single time you're taking those photos for that treatment. And at some point, our team is working on adding in being able to take, additional photos. And so with those actual expressions. So hopefully, that will be helpful as well. And then I think that just also answered the other question is, again, we are going to be at some point implementing those additional photo areas, but for the meantime, feel free to take them, as you please. So then I have one more question here before we end our webinar today. My iPad doesn't have the skip icon to proceed with the process. Is that normal, or should I try to re-download it? So that may be something that we may be able to connect one-on-one, so we can maybe take a look at it. If you want to go ahead and shoot me an email, and then that's something that you and I can get connected one-on-one and definitely take a look at why you're getting that issue there. Okay. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining the webinar today for clinical photography. Please keep a lookout as we will continue these every Wednesday. And then again, if you have any questions in regards to today's webinar, please utilize my email at bethany@aestheticrecord.com. Thank you guys, and see you soon. Bye.